She claims she's the leader who isn't afraid to say the hard things. But when confronted with Tommy Robinson, Elon Musk, and even one of her own voters, suddenly Kemi Badenoch can't say anything at all. Now, she wants you to believe that she is the leader who tells it straight, the one with the backbone to say the hard things.
But what we need right now is a political class of people who are tough and who can talk about these things without being shy or afraid, people who have a backbone. And what I'm worried about, certainly on the government side, is that there is just a general fear of even wading into this space. I'm not afraid to talk about free speech. I'm not afraid, to have a disagreement with your listeners. People might think that, I'm giving some people a free pass.
She's just started a new phone-in show on LBC with the very punchy title of Call Kemi. It wouldn't surprise me if it was one of her team that actually thought of that name. But when she finally gets her chance to be in front of the public, what do we get? Evasion, excuses, and the kind of waffle that makes soggy lettuce look decisive. And although there were many cringeworthy moments, two questions really stood out. Two prime opportunities to show how good she would be as Prime Minister. And did she take those moments to shine? Those perfect questions to prove she has what it takes to lead the country? Did she heck? Caller Julia asked her a very clear, simple question. What will you do to stop the far-right extremism? And here's where a strong leader would have stepped up. Condemned Tommy Robinson. Condemned Elon Musk for literally calling for unrest in London. Draw a line in the sand. Instead, Badenoch bent over backwards to avoid saying anything meaningful.
So my question is, what will you be doing to stop the far-right extremism that's spreading through the UK right now? Tommy Robinson, a former participant in the BNP, the EDL, openly racist movement, on Saturday welcomed Elon Musk onto an enormous screen in the centre of London. My parents were there and were horrified to see what was going on. Elon Musk then directed the people of the UK to act violently, to overthrow our democratically elected government. What would you do to stop this from happening again?
Thank you, Julia. It's a really good question. And the reports I heard about the protests and the rallies at the weekend were actually quite different. If you read the article that Trevor Phillips, a very respected broadcaster on Sky News, someone of Caribbean heritage, wrote, he said it's a lot more complex than that. There are a lot of people in our country who are feeling uncertain, they're feeling anxious. And I think that when you get very large groups of people in London like that, there will inevitably be problems. We had it when it's Notting Hill Carnival. This protest had quite a lot of people there, clerics and so on. Let's not give people a particular label just because Tommy Robinson is...
Not a label. He was in the BNP. He formed the EDL. That's not a label. That's his CV. But Kemi wouldn't even call him far-right.
And the first thing that we should do is stop trying to label people who have different opinions from us. If people are breaking the law, which Tommy Robinson has done on occasion, I think that the law, needs to be enforced properly. But actually, if people are expressing anxiety, expressing, loss of national or cultural identity, that is something that politicians need to address with reasonable rhetoric. And what we're seeing is many people very worried about what's happening to our country. They see a lot of people turning up, taking our system for granted, asylum seekers who aren't real asylum seekers, getting things that a lot of people in this country cannot get.
So you recognise that many of the protesters had legitimate concerns, but would you therefore be open to meeting Tommy Robinson to talk about these concerns? Because there are 150,000 people there, which I think was probably more than most people thought would attend.
Yeah, but I don't need to meet Tommy Robinson for people to know what I think. What I want people to know is what Kemi Badenoch thinks. I'm the leader of the opposition. I am the leader of the Conservative Party, and what I'm saying is what I can and will do if my party is elected into government and I become Prime Minister. Wanting to meet every individual who has got a particular viewpoint, legitimate or illegitimate, is not really what my job is about.
Then came Musk, the billionaire cheerleading civil unrest. And what did she say?
But he addressed that crowd and said, well, they're coming for you. You need to fight back. And I think the word violence was mentioned. You've got to condemn that, surely.
You look at the comments that he made. And it's very easy to read it in multiple contexts. What I don't want to be doing is condemning this person, condemning that person. We've been doing that for many years.
He was inciting violence, Kemi.
Well, I don't actually think that he was. I think he was saying, if people are being violent, fight back.
Fight back or die.
Well, it's not the sort of language that I would use. But what I'm trying to do right now is de-escalate. Even asking me to say, well, will you condemn Elon Musk? That's not a de-escalation. All of this.
Well, I think it is actually. I think people out there listening will think, well, that's exactly what a responsible leader of the opposition should do.
I disagree, Ian, because a lot of people would have interpreted his remarks very differently. What I need to do is set out.
And you're pandering to them.
No, I'm not pandering to them. What I'm not going to do is set my stall based on what did Tommy Robinson say. Do you agree? What did Elon Musk say? Do you agree? I'm not a commentator. I'm a politician.
Sure.
No, Ian, I'm pushing back on this.
Okay.
We need to be very, very careful about how we handle these issues. And what I see happening again and again is lots of people trying to whip up sentiment saying, this person said this, that person said that. What am I going to do as leader of the Conservative Party? We're going to have policies that are going to make sure that society is fairer, that people pay their way, that our system is not exploited. We need to grow our economy because a lot of people are frustrated because they are feeling poorer.
Word salad. Nothing more. This is supposed to be the no-nonsense leader. Come on, please. Sounded terrified of upsetting anyone who might have cheered Robinson or Musk that night. And this should have been easy. Easy to condemn Elon Musk for attempting to create an insurrection. And even if she didn't want to tarnish all the right-wing protesters with the label of being the far right, she could have just said walking under Tommy Robinson's banner isn't going to help their cause and will result them in gaining a far-right label. At that, she's then supporting her base, yet distancing herself from the actual far-right patriots. Yeah, these guys that are pissing all over the city. Then caller Alistair, a Conservative voter from Wiltshire, furious about Danny Kruger defecting to Reform. Now this was Kemi's golden opportunity. Strong leadership 101. Stand up for voters. Show some backbone. It's what he wanted. He wanted to see that he still had faith in his Tory leader. And what did he get?
Do you think that there should be a by-election in Danny Kruger's constituency?
So I have always said that people, they vote for the policy in our country is that you vote for an individual. I think a by-election is an honourable thing to do to show that it is principled. But right now, I'm not interested in talking about who's jumped out and whether.
But Alistair wants a straight answer, yes or no.
No, but I have answered. I have answered the question. It's not a yes or no question.
Alistair, do you think she's answered the question?
People need to follow their conscience. If the people in Danny Kruger's constituency want a by-election, there's a lot that they can do. They can have.
Well, no, there isn't, because there's no recall petition on this.
There's no recall petition, but they can make their feelings known. But a by-election also costs a lot of money. It's very distracting. And the next thing, we'll see that we're not talking about the economy. We're talking about what's happening in the by-election. It's very disappointing to lose an MP. And Alistair, I'm very sorry about what's happened.
A by-election also costs a lot of money. It's distracting. Distracting. Tell that to the voters who've just lost an MP that they actually elected. Alistair himself said he was staggered by her answer. That's a Tory voter practically begging for leadership, and Badenoch gave him excuses. Imagine how many other listeners switched off thinking, if she can't even stand up to a by-election question, how's she going to stand up for us?
And I find it absolutely staggering that the leader of the Conservative Party isn't absolutely appalled by the fact that now the constituency is being represented by a party that finished fourth 14 months ago.
But I am disappointed, Alistair.
So let's just take stock. On extremism, she dodged, dithered, and defended the indefensible. On by-elections, she folded into a puddle of excuses, and throughout it all, she kept insisting she's the leader who isn't afraid to say the hard things. But here's the real truth. A real leader leads. They don't hide behind word games when Tommy Robinson is name-checked. They don't shrug off democracy because it costs too much. And Kemi Badenoch had her chance to show us steel. Instead, she showed us salad. A wet lettuce trying to pass as iron. And if this is the best that she can do under pressure from callers, no wonder it's no wonder that she's no good at the dispatch box for PMQs. And under her leadership, it's clear the Tories won't learn any of their mistakes, which you can see in the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time.